Hello everyone, it's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, excellent morning. Excellent morning, everybody. I'm doing amazing. I'm doing a lot of reading this time around. I have assignments, I have projects, I've started my mentorship class again with OLCA. So it's a lot of reading. Any chance I get, I just have to read. So what I do is once I close, I get home, I take a nap. That 2 hours, I must not miss it, so at least I can work at night. But I have a shout out. Somebody sent me this shout out yesterday. I didn't see it, and he made me promise to do it for him today. So this is from Rhoda or Naderu, wishing her boss, Evangelist Kolade Shegu Okeowe, happy 50th birthday. That birthday was yesterday. And I have another one from Instagram. It says, good evening, ma. My name is Okuoha Nkiruka. Today is my 27th birthday.
Oh, happy
birthday. Happy birthday, Nkiruka from Port Harcourt.
Thanks for reminding me. I had to last week, yesterday. So it was her mom's birthday. I think her name is Faith O. Her mom's birthday was yesterday. She didn't put her mom's name. She just said it's happy birthday to her mom. And then I have from Mrs. Adenike Ukejimi from Atlanta, Georgia, was saying happy birthday to a God-fearing woman, Mrs. Bukola Adeniji in Australia. So I forgot it. I didn't get a chance.
We have two special birthday shout-outs today.
Oh,
Sheol.
Yes, so that's true.
Yes.
Really?
So happy birthday to T-Smart. T-Smart is my sister. You know, relationships evolve, and I bless God for your life. I thank God for our journey of friendship, and I thank God for your gift of joy, because she just has so much enthusiasm and fun, and she's always just vibrantly urging everybody around her. What I do for others, she's able to do effectively for me. So happy birthday, T-Smart Atinuola. I've forgotten her surname, Chai.
That's okay. We know her.
And then, of course, happy birthday to Sheung. Sheung, you're officially our Aburo, because you might not be representing for all of us, but you're officially our Aburo. Let me do this.
If you'd allow me to, please.
Exactly, please go ahead. Do
happy birthday to Sheung. She's my serious Aburo. And I posted this one that the story of our connection is not today. It's for her wedding day. Our Farabale tell that story. But it's a story of grace, it's a story of favor. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a story of loyalty and friendship and joy. And she's just a good girl. Happy birthday to you. She went to church today with Brown. So so obviously I said church is the only thing you can do at this right now. Go and pray to God. You know, when I was your age, I was churching. I have churched well. Now maybe we've relaxing, but there's a period where that's all you do. So this is your time. Do it well and enjoy it, because God will bless you. Auntie Nima Akasha Zibiri, how you doing?
I'm thankful to God. So it's our in-house cameraman, Shegun Peters. Today is his wife's birthday. Her name is Atinuke Abayomi Peters. As my wife concerned, I want to shout out to you as well. Happy birthday, many more fruitful, healthy, and prosperous years alive. And
I think open Instagram today, so I don't even know if anybody says something.
No, that my red network, they have done it again. So I don't have network, so I can't check Instagram messages now. Oh. So sorry, but I needed to rant. I got here I was just lucky to get here at all, because it was 7:10 before I left Abule Ado this morning. Wow. The tankers, for whatever reason, decided to park on the roads. We got stuck and they refused to budge. We had to practically go beg before their people came to even talk to them to move at all. They took over the roads, so the community was locked in this morning, all the way from Underbridge to Abule Ado. It doesn't make sense. You can run your businesses with sense. You can stay. I can't leave my house at 6 and just be sitting there watching you park on the road. It doesn't make any sense.
We have to run.
I know they are watching. They're always saying to me, Madam TVC, so you're watching, and I'm not talking to government, I'm talking to you directly. Did
you mention Nkiruka's birthday?
Yes,
I just saw a message now. Okay, cool. So we love you, Nkiruka. Yeah. All right, from Port Harcourt. All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation. What we expect from the new service chiefs by Nigerians. CBN boosts economy with 8.8 trillion to battle COVID-19 effects. Igboho, some Yoruba leaders backing criminal headsmen. Amoteco intercepts headers with guns in Oyo. Waiting game continues for ambassadors designate. Okay, which story are we taking?
Let me do the Amoteco.
Yes.
Two quick stories there. So Amoteco was able to arrest the 25 headsmen. They found 25 guns and 10 dogs found on them, and they intercepted their truck, and they've handed all of them to the police. But the second story quickly is the fact that some headsmen invaded Eki. You know, they were driven out of Ondo State. They headed to Ekiti and went into a farm in the middle of the night and destroyed over
a maize farm.
A maize farm destroyed over 10 million worth of product. Now the maize farmers are complaining that they actually borrowed 6.6 million naira from the CBN for this season to be able to plant, and now that it's time for them to harvest, they've just lost everything.
Yeah, as a fallout of that, so the governor of Ekiti State has also put together a committee to obviously execute what was agreed on Monday, to have that peace with both the Miyetti Allah and farmers, herders and farmers actually, to have a meeting.
I'm wondering if we can find the headsmen whose cattle destroyed somebody's farm. Shouldn't they be able to sue them, hold them liable to pay for the cost of the farm? Because the way we resolve issues is what worsens issues.
That's a hot topic we need to discuss.
There should be civil ways to resolve issues.
Yeah, I want to take the ambassador story. So they said the Nigerian ambassadors, about 95 of them, ambassadors designate, got informed that they were going to be ambassadors, but they didn't get a portfolio. About a fortnight ago, the nation did their own investigation to find out the portfolio, and they've not been. It was the nation that revealed the countries, the host countries, and then they went again to find out from them that how come none of them have gotten any official letter that this is where you've been assigned to. And they said it was because that Nigeria ministry hasn't gotten information confirming the appointment from the host nation. It just reeks a bit of lack of proper planning that we'll be having, you announce ambassador without telling the host country. The host country has not confirmed, but you have confirmed the ambassador from here. We can do better.
Shady.
All right, let's take Daily Sun. Amid kudos and knocks, Irabo, Atahiru, Gambo, Amal take over as service chiefs. All residents count losses from Army IPOB deadly clash. Our Igboho's house was raised in Ibadan. 1.5 million Nigerians have benefited from the cash transfer program. Ondo Oyo crisis AFG tasked Nigerians on peace and unity. Let's start with IPOB.
Okay, yeah. So I think on Monday we had the story that there was a clash between the Eastern Security Network from IPOB and the military, and as a result of that, about 10 persons died. Right now, the Olu residents that in Imo State are complaining that the soldiers have taken over their city. They are they are everywhere. They are even suspecting that they are going door to door to fish out members of the ESN and probably do harm to them. That their markets have been closed. They are not able to do their businesses, and they are appealing to the governor to do something about it, to save them from what is happening with the military. You have helicopters hovering all around.
So, according to the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, he said 1.4 million Nigerians benefited from the cash transfer that is called Individual Household Members Beneficiary, Household Uplifting Program Conditional Cash Transfer. Now, this cash transfer, according to her, was distributed based on data from states, about the 3 states that benefited from it. They had their data, and based on that data is how they distributed. And they also flagged off, according to her, the total of 500,000 youths have also benefited from the Empower initiative. I beg to disagree, because there are a lot of issues with the Empower, and they've now flagged off the End Creative. The End Creative is supposed to empower beneficiaries with certain skills to create, to be creative, to be able to work as
in the creative industry,
in storytelling, illustration, graphic design, post-production, script writing, and voice acting, and all of that. Because the what she called uplifting cash transfer for certain homes nobody, if anybody, we are 4 people sitting on this table, and you cannot point to anybody within your environment that benefited, you beg to question the data that they used.
We have to
you know, we should be able to find out, but we know that Empower workers are presently aggrieved and they are complaining seriously.
Some of them have not been paid.
So, yes, most of them have been laid off since April.
That's so another story.
The good news, you know, this is going to be unquestionable.
Good news, where is it?
Yes, the Customs Service, our current Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Ahmed Ali, shared the good news with Nigerians that there is a new tariff that will be implemented very soon. It's been signed already, that will reduce vehicle importation from 35% to 10%.
Yes, now we knew that.
Yes,
and it's taken off today.
Yes, it's today. Yes, officially, and he said that they are doing this in order to ameliorate the challenges of car expenses coming into Nigeria. He also mentioned that that Customs has remitted 9 billion to the government, over 9 billion naira to the government, and that he wants to applaud the service people that work within the Customs Service for generating 1.3 trillion naira last year. That
I must remind ourselves that those who are who are actually assembly companies, car assembly companies, are complaining that this reduction
is going to
harm their own business. So
yes, but the reduction might not even be effective because presently those importing cannot buy cars because of the cost of dollar. Dollar itself is scarce.
The Punch, 20 generals may go as Buhari replaces retired service chiefs. Driver pursued by Lagos Task Force kills Bricklayer. Exporters, importers, woes worsening at port, says LCCI. But let's take the human interest story.
Yes, I have that very sad story. So a 28-year-old bricklayer, Oluwadamilare, was on his way to work when there was a bus driver that was being chased by the Lagos State Environmental and Special Offences Unit Task Force. So one of the informants of the task force was, dragging the steering with the driver, and then he, in order to avoid them, hit the young man who was on his way to work, and hit I think an old woman and another person who got injured, but the young man died instantly. And I am worried that this is becoming way too much. There are several ways that you can actually get people who are offenders than fighting them on the road and killing other people. And when this accident happened, the task force members ran away, the driver ran away, they left the cops on the street.
You see. So why do we have to arrest? Why can't we make sure that we prevent? So they are there usually hiding and waiting for cars to come in. You can always say, no, you can't go through this place. You can't move. It's a one-way. You can't park here. So you cause traffic, you're obstructing traffic. Move. The way the last map workers in Mautu insist on you.
Moving on to Vanguard. Cheers, hope as service chiefs take over. Catholic bishops want service chiefs to allow Amotekun and others thrive. PIB, scrap NDDC now, all communities tell federal government. One fair dead as Shiites police clash in Abuja over El Zakzaki. COVID-19, another lockdown would wound our economy, says CBN. And those who burnt my house will run mad in 48 hours, says Igboho. Okay, which story are we taking?
We need to take the major headline.
We'll say it's our story. It's all we're talking about.
Okay, let's do the Catholic bishops. So on Tuesday, that was yesterday, they appealed to Nigerians to beg the new service chiefs to allow Amotekun and other security networks that Nigerians are coming up with to thrive and work hand in hand with the police. So let them support them to be like an alternative security, that we cannot say we don't have, that governors and the government is not involved when we hear that the cases of kidnapping, armed robbery, banditry, that they are negotiating with all those kidnappers. So we should beg them to support Amotekun and other security.
Okay,
that's basically
President Buhari is, recently concerned about children that are out of school, and he has directed again the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management to quickly coordinate the deployment of national plan to address the issue of out of school
the Minister for Education?
Children.
And also, Yabatek, unfortunately, yeah, this is a woman. Leave her alone, I beg.
But the woman is to help us direct that plan.
So Yabatek lost one of their lecturers. I think the lecturer in charge of academics. He died obviously as a result of COVID-19, and they had to shut down the hostels and ask all classes to resume online for the students. So that's
our heart goes out to the family.
Yeah.
The lions in the room, the elephants in the room. The elephants in the room is the lion. The service chiefs. We'll talk about that later. Our final paper, should we take Tribune?
Yes.
Let's find a story we've not taken at all. Community policing, 18,000 personnel recruited nationwide for takeoff, says IGP. Mother of 3, 8 others die in accidents in Benue. 6 killed, others missing as Akwa-Ibom-Abia boundary war escalates. And what we did to battle insecurity in Ibarakba, Okeogun.
So I had to read that story because I know it's obvious that there's been major security challenges within Oyo State. A lot of farmers have been kidnapped publicly, and many have died in the course of being kidnapped. The governor, through his spokesperson, Governor Seyi Makinde, his chief press secretary, today, Taiwo Adisa, was mentioning all the ways that the state governor had empowered security agencies to move into Ibarakwa area, and is accusing the opposition through Minister for Youth, Sunday Dare, of fueling the idea that the government of President in Oyo isn't working. My own statement is I've read extensively. They've deployed civil defense, they deployed the army, they have Operation Bust, they have Mopo. All of them have been employed, but are people dying? Are people being kidnapped? Are people being kidnapped? Yes, let's just deal with the insecurity issue. Let's not hear what you've done. Are people safer? That's all that counts.
It was interesting. I mean, all the papers have all the pictures of the new service chiefs, except for this day.
At the old one.
This day. I don't know what's wrong with this day. They only showed one. I don't know why.
You know why? Let me not talk about it.
Then I only go school.
Now you go school.
Now you know that. You know that for a fact. He has 2 masters.
Yeah.
I don't know why this day only put
an engineer.
There's an engineer.
But the rest, they didn't have. I read them. They didn't have any.
Now you know.
You read that for us when we start talking.
Don't start what you don't want to finish, please.
And it's from my town, you know.
I know. I don't want that.
They had to just be an extra.
I gave you the floor to talk about it. You go to school. You know it.
You go to school.
All right, let's go to a break. And we come back. Yes, the change, the appointment
finally
of new service chiefs, albeit belated. But however, we're going to talk about it. We'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So yesterday, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed new service chiefs. This actually comes after several calls for a change in military leadership following increasing terror attacks in the northeast region. The question is, what is the likely effect of these new appointments to our fight against insurgency and the overall state of insecurity in the country? Join us on the show now is retired Colonel Anthony Anyam. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you. So,
thanks very much.
In the papers today, many have asked that they're not sure if these new appointments will make any key difference in the fight against insurgency. In your experience, sir, would you like to share your thoughts on these new appointments, and albeit belated, but at least it's been done now? What are your thoughts on it, and how do you think this can move us forward security-wise?
Thank you very much. First of all, welcome. We appreciate what the president has done. He should have done this years back. Having said so, I have to remind our Nigerians that we are always quick to set expectations where obviously we will be disappointed. What do I mean? The change President Muhammadu Buhari has done is the tip of the iceberg. It is just like this. Let me use the analogy. You change the CEO or the MD and CEO of a bank, like First Bank. You change all the subsidiaries of First Bank. And then you change the general managers underneath the CEOs. But you have a very poor, badly performing board of directors. You've not begun. What am I saying? The failure of our national security has been the issue of a failure of political leadership. That is, at at the governing council level, those are where the changes should have been made. Even though, so these chaps coming in now to, like the chief of defense staff, the new chief of defense staff, a qualified professional military man and a combat-tested one at that. But his position, the chief of defense staff, as it is currently structured, makes the gentleman redundant, just like the former one was redundant in every sense of the word. What do I mean? Because he has service chiefs who are independent. And no matter what he does, that was why the last general, and a very good general from Ekiti, did not succeed, because the office is made redundant. So, as much as we welcome the appointment of a very good chief of defense staff, but I assure you that his position is made redundant by the existing structure.
Right. Okay.
Now,
all right, sir.
So what is the implication? The challenges he will have is that he will still have service chiefs competing amongst themselves. So there will be inter-armed forces rivalry. There will be duplication of effort. And all this adds to the national security failures. In other countries that had similar problems that we've had, they have what is called, they've gone towards a much more unified command, or what we call at times combined command, or in the British sense, a joint command, whereby the chairman of the joint chiefs of staff is number one boss. He's the one who reports to the president. He's the one who takes instruction from the president. In our own case, all the service chiefs, as you always see every time Buhari calls it, they are all in attendance, and they all have independent. And I'm just also underneath this, the most powerful chief of defense of staff is the chief of army staff. He is more powerful than the chief of defense staff. So there is not effective command and control of the armed forces. We're going to have that problem.
Right.
Sir, you mentioned earlier that Nigerians are quick to have high expectations. And I am worried about that statement, because if we do not have high expectations that people who have been, put in position to deliver us out of the quagmire that we found ourselves, if we do not have high expectations that they will perform, what then do we have? Now, I know that it's not easy to be in a position, especially when things have degenerated, but they should come with something. They should come with a change. We should see that they are ready to work. If we can't see that, then why are they there?
You are right. You are right, because the problem is, you see, a president like Buhari, in terms of his age and in terms of his training is of the old school in modern warfare. He has a lot of shortcomings. Now, you don't have to be an expert to be a president. But in other structures, there are facilitators and facilities that make up for the shortcoming of a president. As bad as President Bush was in America, he had the systems to help him. In Nigeria, President Muhammad Buhari has been ignoring the issue of having facilitators or resource persons to make up for his shortcoming. I'll give you an example. General Gowon, at the age of 30, if not less, fought the Civil War, which was a bigger war, in 3 years successfully. How did he do it? Because he made up for his shortcomings by bringing 2 wise men and a number of good pamphsects. He wasn't tribalistic. He chose, and who were the 2 wise men? They were Chief Obafemi Awolowo and Anthony Nahoro. They came in to manage the political and the financial strategy, which in fact made for the defeat of the Biafran. Here we have a man, the president, who relies solely on people who should be executing his own strategic directions. He relies on them to define the directions. And this is where the problem is. So what am I saying? This change that is begun is the first step. The second step the president needs to do, there's a need for him to reorganize his office so that he can be a much more effective commander-in-chief. At the moment, he is not, because he hasn't got the structure to help him to be an effective commander-in-chief. Secondly, he needs to now organize a restructuring of the national security architecture to be fit for purpose. As it is now, it isn't fit for purpose. Thirdly, because everything begins from how you think. That is, in the military, is described as the doctrine. The doctrine we are using now to fight a warfare which is asymmetric by ideology. Nigeria is like a boxer fighting someone who is a master African wrestler, and then at the same time fighting somebody who is a kung fu martial arts. And the third person behind teaching those two is a foreigner teaching them how to. So the point I'm making is that Nigeria is adopting one approach which will not work. That is relying too solely on the conventional warfare. That's why the discussion earlier you guys were making is very crucial. We need elements of what I call self-defense forces in the different local government and states, which, like Amataku is, or what the governor of Borno has been calling for, the civilian joint task force. You need civilians who know their territories better than anyone else, who are trained and armed to be the first responders. This is what other countries have done. When the British had a similar crisis in Northern Ireland, they did not use only the military.
Let me pause you for a second, sir, because I would really like to hear that story on how the British did it. But I have to introduce also Professor Adoni Onoja, who is joining us from Nasarawa State University. But we're going to go on a break. When we come back, we'll hear his thoughts on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, joining the conversation is Professor Adoni Onoja from Nasarawa State University. Welcome to the show, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Right. So, Nima had a question. Go ahead, please.
So, I wanted to know that this appointment now is based on hierarchy, qualification, and merit, because some people, the immediate past president of Ohaneze Ndigbo, Chief Nyanwodo, questioned this, that he was, this ethnic or tribalistic appointments around, because the Southeast was cleverly avoided again in the presidential election. Are there qualified Southeasterners within the hierarchy in the military? And is this appointment, this new appointment, based on qualification and merit, so that we know the kind of results we should expect?
Thank you for having me. I want to begin by posing a question. In the last 6 years of this administration, has any appointment been done on the basis of those criteria you pointed out? In the entire history of Nigeria in the last 20 years, but particularly in the last 6 years, let me just go back to the last 20 years. Has there been a process, an orderly process for appointment into different positions? People get appointed into the positions of service chiefs, not necessarily because they merited. You know, some other considerations are used for this appointment. And President Muhammadu Buhari has not hidden the fact that he will only work with people he knows. So to say that, you know, to ask my opinion concerning whether merit was used in this particular appointment, you know, I mean, doesn't arise in the first place. You know, he has his reasons for appointing the people he appointed into those positions.
Okay.
And to boot, because we don't have an orderly way of appointing people into this particular position, you know, politics, sentiment, and some other considerations have always played roles in that.
Right. Okay.
I'd like to direct my question back to the retired colonel. Sir, you mentioned something that I feel, you mentioned it in passing. I really agree with it, and I want you to expand on it based on your experience in the military. You mentioned that the system would not make any appointment work because the system itself is has defaults that we need to deal with. And I agree with that across many other things that we're doing in Nigeria, where we think that the president alone can solve the problem when the civil service is rotting and will slow the clog of success we desire. So what do you think are the key systemic issues that you would want the president to address, even if it's just 3 points that you feel if the presidency addresses these key systemic issues, we would see our new service chiefs' productivity increase, and then our desires will not be unrealistic.
Colonel, are you there? That was for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
That question was for you, Colonel.
All right, all right. First of all, I like the point I'm making is, and I'm happy that the questioner is right. You see, structures precede a person. In our situation, we rely too much on personality changes. Not realizing that structures are very crucial. Like I was saying earlier, for example, the way we organize command and control of military operations is such that there is no unified command. This is why you saw last time, or the last service chiefs, the Air Force is there bombing, and there's no follow-up by the military. The Air Force, that is air power alone, cannot achieve an objective. Air power is used in a way which is called preparatory bombardment, and it's always followed immediately after by the military going in. So the issue here is that the president needs to, first of all, the national security architecture needs to be made to be fit for purpose. That's one. Secondly, you see, like we see, if you take a human being, we have two sides of the brain. We have a side which women use much more, and the women use the much more creative side. The men use the much more rationalizing, logical side. And this is why you find it is welcome in the whole world that women are now being given position of leadership. In other words, we need a balance of using the right and left side of the brain. In fighting the kind of warfare we are fighting now, which is an unconventional warfare, that is an unorthodox war, which is not like the other war where the main actors are non-state entities or actors. That is, they are not. You need a much more robust and comprehensive approach. And that approach means that, like I was saying earlier, when the British were fighting in Northern Ireland, the British, when they started initially using the military, they found out that they could not penetrate and do much. What did they do? They had to delegate some functions to the Irish. That's why they formed what is called like the Ulster Defence Force to take on the IRA. So I am saying that while the service chief is done, we need to, like in Borno or in Zamfara, create self-defense forces in the local communities, because they will be better at fighting the war because they know the environment way better. At the moment, over-relying on the conventional tactics to face unconventional tactics is abnormally carried on for too long.
Second, sir, let me come back to Professor Onoja. Professor Onoja, are you there? Because I'd like us to do a quick review on the retired service chiefs, especially because we need to understand what they did wrong and how they can improve on it, because we all know that they had the vigilante partnership in many of these regions, and based on what the colonel just said, that they need local expertise, local partnership, collaboration to execute better. But in this situation where they had JTF, they had other, okay, I'm told down that the professor is disconnected. Professor is not there, so we'll talk to Colonel. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, good. So my worry, let me come to you, because I wanted to direct this question to Professor. But the truth is, Major General Buratai did engage JTF, both in Niger and also in Bordeaux and all the bordering states. Why do you think that was ineffective? And how could we build on that relationship that we had?
The engagement of the JTF in Borno was not done properly. If you remember, the governor of Borno, they're not properly armed. They weren't integrated. What we are suggesting is that they need to be better trained, better armed, and relied upon much more. Now, what we have now is that you take a soldier from the one part of Port Harcourt or from Isaleko in Lagos, and you take him to an inhospitable environment like Bama in Borno State. The place, it will take him 3 months first to adjust to the weather. And not only that, it is a place that you find so inhospitable. So why should take in the soldiers? You need the locals. And even during our civil war in Nigeria, Gowon made the change because immediately they got into the war, all of us from the eastern state, that is from the rivers, Cross River, were taken into the army. That was how General Adekunle was so successful, because Adekunle recruited the locals, trained them, and the locals now knew how to find the enemy. So the point is, the tactics, the mode of operation we're using now is too limited.
Okay.
That is one. Secondly, in terms of our population, the army we have is less than 170,000 of a population of over 200 million people.
They are dying every day.
Is completely inadequate. Like I've said before, if you compare us to Egypt, Egypt is 100 million people in population. The army in Egypt is almost 1 million people in the army in Egypt. Take Ethiopia. Ethiopia is about 80 million people. The army they have there is about 10 times the army we have in Nigeria. So the issue I'm saying is that, first, the tactics and strategy we're using is inadequate. Secondly, the force levels is we don't have enough manpower for the challenges we're facing.
Okay,
so I'd like to talk about experience now. This, the chief of army, the new chief of army staff and the new chief of defense staff were, previously members of, part of the Operation Lafia Adole in their CV that we read. And Lafia Adole has been the major force team that, has been in the northeast combating this insurgency. What exactly is, the new thing that they'll be bringing on? Because that, based on the experience, that they didn't do differently, or that they didn't suggest to their predecessors, that they'll be bringing on. I don't want a situation like we had when their predecessors were newly appointed, and some people were questioning them working from Abuja and giving orders in the Northeast. So
in addition to that, also because Major General Atahiru was also accused of being redeployed because he failed to bring Shekau in 40 days. So these are the worries of Nigerians. Do we have the right people for this job?
Should we be worried?
I have to be fair to this. I have to be fair to these new appointees. I don't want to go into a point of judging them when they are not. First of all, they are still new. But my sisters, the point I'm making over and over is that if you appoint and change the CEOs of a company and you have bad board of directors, what do you expect? I am saying that the change has to start from the president. It has to have a proper structure of how to take, for example, you would have seen the new American president, that the mistake they made with the spokesperson of the government, they've changed it. The lady who is now the spokesman of the president is transparent. That is the president exercising his duty. I am saying that the structure we have now of the president being an effective commander-in-chief is not there. So that's where, no matter what the changes you make at the level of the CEO, if the board of directors are not setting the right direction, the right strategic direction, then you'll be going around in circles. So first, I suggest that
Okay, let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with you. Thank you.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have Colonel Anthony Anyam. Yes, we still had a question for you.
Okay, Colonel, I wanted to ask this question because the opposition is currently saying that a probe is needed for the outgoing service chiefs, that they need to question them on the way they run, the security network of the country, the security infrastructure of the country. They had a lot of accusations that had to do with them misappropriating funds that were meant for the security, weapons and security personnel, their welfare, and that we need to probe them so that the new service chiefs will understand what failed and what will work better. Do you think that is a step in the right direction, or should we just focus on these new service chiefs?
Colonel, did you get that question?
Are you sure he's there?
Hello? Colonel, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Did you get the question
from?
Right. Yeah.
Yes, I got part of it. She's on course. I think, first of all, yes, those probes should be done. I am. Yeah. The point is, first of all, we should focus on ensuring that the first thing the officers need, the commanders now need, they need to be given the resources to fight the war. First, they need the first levels, that is, the number of people they have is too small. Two, they need to be better equipped. And you are right, we need to stop the source of the corruption that is affecting the performance of the military operation. There's so much corruption in the system. And all these three things I've mentioned are issues of leadership. You see, even if a general is competent, and there's a crisis in Ibadan, and the general is told not to go there. He can be competent and not go there. So what am I saying? I over and over saying the issue of leadership by the president is key. The president has been failing. He needs to make up for his shortcomings by, you see, before he was listening to the likes of Obasanjo, he was listening to T.Y. Danjuma. For some time, he cut them off. He wasn't listening to Danjuma or Babangida, so he was alone. And his handlers who have no experience were the ones handling him. And in so doing, he was being misled in many things he was doing. He needs to free himself. That's why his wife has been crying out. Aisha has been crying out that his husband is being held hostage. He needs to free himself to attract better advice that can help him manage the war. The leadership at the top is a failure. That is my point.
Okay.
No matter, even if you have competent without effective leadership, because it is the president that sets the direction. It is him that exercises the political will. It is him that will put the funding, the appropriate funding to be.
Right.
At the moment, these things are lacking.
All right.
Okay, so I wanted to ask this question. You've obviously made your point clear concerning the way our system is currently working isn't satisfactory and might not help us achieve the result. But one of the beauty of having a democracy is that there are checks and balance, that the presidency and the president isn't all in all, that we have the National Assembly and they're supposed to act as to check what is going on. I believe that this service chief change was part of what they clamored for, because we had a very definite statement from the National Assembly that we needed to change service chiefs, and the president responded. What else do you think the National Assembly can do, the Senate, House of Assembly, can do to compel the president and increase, because the major challenge in our country now is insecurity, and it's everywhere, more concentrated in the north, but everywhere. What can the National Assembly do to compel the president to do what needs to be done between now and the next few years of his administration to cause change positively within our security system? Sir, did you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes. A very good question. First, I must take, I like what I commend the National Assembly. This National Assembly were they seem to be listening to the people, and they cried out early enough. What I would, to follow your suggestion, what I would appeal to the National Assembly, first, you see, the military operations is based on what is called maneuver, that is movement. You know, you deceive the enemy that you're going to go right and you go left. Now, all this is dependent, like on intelligence. Intelligence means that you don't go into operation blind. What we have now is that our intelligence is very poor. So the National Assembly should statutorily make it as an act, a bill, that we should have a coordinator of national intelligence. Just to illustrate, the US, the new president has appointed a lady as a coordinator of national intelligence in the US now, right now. Why did it come about? During the 9/11, before the 9/11, all these intelligence services were working at cross purposes. When they were taken by surprise, because there was intelligence about the impending 9/11, but one side didn't listen to the other. After that disaster, the National Assembly, Congress of the US, by act, created the Office of Director of National Intelligence. So in Nigeria, first thing the president needs to do, we need a coordinator of national intelligence who will coordinate all the intelligence services effort, because they are the ones who are, as the word suggests, intelligent, who will set the pace by giving us the eye soldier will take. At the moment, intelligence is very poor.
Okay, let me okay.
Secondly, like I've said also, the National Assembly needs to pass an act The act or the bill is that we need a minimum percentage as a proportion of our population. In other countries, you have at least 1 or 2 percentage of the population in the national security services. In our own case in Nigeria, we are so poor compared to Benin Republic, compared to Niger, compared to Chad. That's secondly. The other point is this. The money spent, in spite of the corruption, the money spent on defense is very, very low. I agree, people will say, oh, corruption, but so we need acts to help the president to make it by law so that the president cannot dodge that responsibility.
Okay.
The other issue is this. Yes.
Okay, sir. Because we've really dealt with the qualification strategy, whether we have proper strategies and, you know, whether the leadership is working, I'd like us to now focus on these new appointees. Can you give them an advice, you know, because the problems Nigerians are facing as regards insecurity in the country is general. Everybody have something, one experience or the other. If it's not banditry in your region, it's kidnapping in the other region. If it is not that, it's insurgency in the Northeast. And, you know, we know these issues. Can you advise the new appointees on what to focus on or the strategy to use, whether it is recruitment or, you know, or partnership with civilian JTF, clearly? What strategy would you advise them to deploy?
First of all, and thanks for that question. First of all, they need to be committed to, like the president himself said, they should face their responsibility. They should not allow ethnicity or religion to disturb their performance. Because if you look at religion, if you look at how at times we misuse religion, for example, what is happening in Oyo State now, in Iganga and all that, these are Muslim communities that have been attacked by Fulani militias. So it's not an issue of religion. So at times people will say, oh, Fulanis are Muslim. No, it is the people being attacked in Iganga, and they are all Muslims in the majority. So it's not an issue of. So I'm saying that the new service chief must know that they have a duty, and that duty is to protect Nigerians. They should set aside ethnicity, set aside religion. And in fact, in so doing, they'll be doing a good cause for their ethnic and for their religion. That's one. Secondly, they should stop the corruption. At the moment, the politicians have interfered in the processes of making an officer. Politicians will interfere. They want this to be a cadet that go to NDA. The person may not be someone who is qualified to be in the army. They send people, their ex-thugs, to go and join the army as recruits. Politicians are interfering in the process. That's one. Secondly, within the army, even promotion exams now, that the promotion exams are being compromised because everything is now money and who is in power. So there is a lot of favoritism. So all these things are affecting the quality of soldiers. That's why you see, I'm shocked to find at times you see soldiers failing in their duties. Because if you are a typical soldier, once you are in battle, you are like a family. Now you have people leaking information against their colleagues. This is what. So first of all, they need to deal with the issue of sincerity of purpose.
Okay, let me go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we still have our guest with us. BC had a question for him. Go ahead, please.
All right, Colonel. I'm very worried that we are making a lot of excuses for our leaders. I believe that their job is to give us results. Nigerians want results right now. So it's not our job to start thinking for you how you're going to give us that result. That is why you are there. And if it's not going to be possible for you, then you give chance to someone who can handle it. Now, you've told us in the beginning that we shouldn't expect. Nigerians are very quick to expectations. But I want to ask now, what do you think? How long do you think we can give to these service chiefs to give us results that we need? We all know the results that we need. How long we need?
What's the realistic expectation?
Exactly. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry, my dear sister, that I would say this way. The results are dependent upon good leadership. For example, the Civil War was won in 3 years. We've been fighting this war of insurgency for over 10 years because of leadership issue. So the results are dependent on the performance of the president and the National Security Council. That's what I'm sorry to, I have to repeat that. To expect the service chiefs to do wonders. In other words, if the service chiefs don't have the manpower, don't have enough proper equipment, and secondly, if they are being given confusing signals by the president, that is, they can react better when it comes to IPOP and not react as effective when it comes to transnational armed herdsmen. So the issue is, I'm repeating this over and over, and I need to, for the purpose of emphasis, that once the leadership, you see, like I said, General Gowon, at a very young age, fought the Civil War because of good leadership of the war. So no matter how you stress, if the service chiefs are not well led, we're going to have a problem, my sister.
All right. Well, at this point, I'd like to wrap it up. But thank you very much, Colonel Anthony Ayin, for sharing your thoughts with us. Yes, many people are not very optimistic, but others are, and we just hope for the best, because the truth is we've been expecting the retirement of these services for a while. And now that it has happened, people are still not really cheering, but they're only hoping that it actually indeed brings change to insecurity in Nigeria. Let's take a few tweets before we run off. Any tweets for us?
While we're looking for tweets, I just want to say that I'm happy that it finally changed, because I think that many people, because we've waited so long for this thing to happen, when it now happened, we just had like, finally. There's no enthusiasm or encouragement for what has happened. I want to say thank you for President listening to us and reacting, though years later, we're happy that this just happened. But the remaining things that this Colonel raised are things that we expect the President to look into.
One tweet here says, Ibikunle says, the changing of service chiefs is not the issue or to solve the problems of insurgency. The truth is there is a big sabotage in the military, and there are big wigs supporting and financing these problems.
Interesting. We have to run. Thank you, ladies.
First, Akimboyewa says, IBB compulsorily retired the best brains in our armed forces and didn't invest in modern equipment. The outgoing chief of air staff basically reduced the Air Force and invest in research and development. These guys should be commended. As for the outgoing one.
All right, that's all we can take on the show today. Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much, Colonel. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.